Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Slingin Leather, Southern California's official combat sports show. I am your host, Scuba Steve. Thank you all for tuning back in, and I'm very excited to welcome back Justin, the Chosen One, Viloria. He was victorious in his previous fight on September 30th against Angel Beretta by unanimous decision and improved to 4-0 in his pro career. Justin, welcome back to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, of course. And just to start off, what were your overall thoughts on your performance as well as your opponent and everything that went into the bout on the 30th?
I thought I looked good. I thought I looked strong, but there's just that one little thing of like, yeah, I didn't put him out. But really, it was there was a lot of no, I don't want to say complications, but I just felt different being in the ring this time, just because I wasn't able to have my dad in my corner, which he's cornered me for every fight since I was 8, and
Mhm.
just a lot of stuff happened before the fight resulting in that, but I'm not gonna use it as an excuse. I still went out there and performed and dominated. It was just a real different not having him there. Um,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, I'm sure. I didn't even notice that. Was there a specific reason for that? Is everything okay?
yeah. It was he had some problems with his heart right before the fight, and it was kind of a shock to me just because I didn't know about it until literally right about we're about to head down to the lobby to get shuttled over to the venue.
Hmm.
And pretty much I went to his hotel and knocked on his door, and I'm psyched, I'm ready to fight. And he opens the door and he's saying his chest hurts, and I'm kind of like a little thrown off by that. And he's on the phone with my mom, like, should I go to the hospital? So like hearing that, it was just kind of like, dang, like I'm about to go fight, or we're about to go right now. And
Oh,
it was kind of a trip just because just like we got to get going, and it's just so last minute. And I felt comfortable though knowing my brother's in my corner. My brother, he's obviously boxing me all my life. He knows me well. We have chemistry. So pretty much once we get to the venue, he goes to get seen by the doctor, by the commission, after he wraps my hands. And they had to take him to the hospital. Luckily, I didn't know he was going to the hospital. I just thought that he was sitting this one out, maybe sitting with my mom or something in the stands. Um, so it was kind of just trying to calm myself down before the fight, knowing that, his health isn't the best right now and he's not going to be in my corner. But, I was able to, stay composed, stay focused. We were able to get my uncle, Brian Viloria, in my corner. So it was Brian and my brother, which I was totally comfortable with because, they know me very well. Um, but it was just kind of a bummer because having not having my dad there, and now the biggest fight of my life is just, I felt pretty sad just because he's not gonna be able to witness it. Um, just as a father, not even as a coach, coaching someone in the biggest fight of their life in the biggest arena on the biggest card, he's not going to be able to experience that. And that to me, just, I just felt real sad. But, it's okay just because, I know I have a bright future. We have a bright future. Him as my coach, he's going to be with me all the way. So, we have a lot to look forward to. Just in that moment, it was just different. So I definitely felt different going into the fight. Um, like the first thing that I was looking for was him right after the fight. After that last bell, I go to my corner and I'm looking in the stands. I see my mom, but I don't see my dad. I'm asking like, "Where's my dad? Where's my dad?" But he was at the hospital. So yeah, it was just it was a lot going into it, but I'm happy that I had a good corner and I still was able to perform well.
yeah, I'm real sorry to hear that, man. I hope he makes a swift and full recovery, and I could imagine the difference that made
Yeah.
come fight night. One thing I certainly will say is that your performance and the way you fight certainly was uncompromised the entire time. I know you take pride in your ability to establish a consistent pressure throughout the fight. And I'm curious, what allows you to do this effectively? Is it establishing the lead hand? Is it your footwork, or is it a mentality, or a product of your mentality?
I would say it's a product of my mentality, and that goes hand in hand with knowing what I'm physically able to do and the people I'm able to do it with. So really, it all happens in camp. Just what you're doing in camp. So I'm sparring, top of the line, really talented fighters, and I'm able to pressure them for longer than I'm fighting right now. I'm able to keep that pressure. I'm able to hurt them, all that. So really it's just the way I prepare, prepares me mentally to just if I can do this during camp, I can do this in the fight. So really just being ready, and that helps me mentally for sure.
Mm-hmm. And correct me if I'm wrong. This is a 6 round fight. This was
Yeah.
a 6 round fight. All right.
Yeah.
How many rounds do you typically spar in preparation for a 6 round fight?
At least 8. If I want to go more, I can go more. Um, I don't really have an issue with going more. So, after I'd say a couple more 6 rounds for sure, jump up to 8 pretty soon.
Now, is that in like the negotiation process? Is that something you and your opponent have to agree on, or is that something that the commission or the promotion deals with?
Um, Pretty much I already requested to go 6 rounds during my second fight. So once you make that jump, I'm not going to go back to a 4 round fight, obviously.
Hmm.
So pretty much fights from here on out until I'm ready to go 8. I'll let the promotion or whoever's matchmaking the fights, I don't know. Let's make it an 8 round fight.
Oh, okay. That's a discussion. I think I was unaware how those were
Mhm.
established in boxing. Um, One thing I did notice as well is despite Barreda being the shorter and the fighter with the shorter reach, you seemed very comfortable with staying in the pocket with him, and once you had him on the ropes. Was this part of your game plan, or was this something that you noticed as the fight progressed, or you saw it as an opening?
Um, Originally the game plan was, catch him coming in. He kind of lunges forward with, I would say stupid shots. Um, but after feeling his power, my pops, he said, if you feel that he's weak and you're stronger, then go walk him down. So, and that's what I felt in the opening round is he has no power. So really just walk him down, keep chipping away. So, and it worked. So I'm glad that played
Yeah,
out well.
certainly did. You were fearless going in there, and that was very admirable to see. I noticed you fight Southpaw in the vast majority. And I'm curious, a lot of your lead hand shots looked like sort of such as your jab and your check hook seemed to really hurt him in certain situations. I'm curious, are you naturally right or left-handed?
um, I'm naturally left-handed,
Hmm.
but I am like in certain things that my right hand is a lot more dominant than my left. So I don't want to say I'm both, but in certain things my right just happens to be more coordinated or stronger than my left. So
It
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 really
does
depends
seem
what
real
I'm doing.
sharp, especially in the pocket. It does
Yeah,
seem to be really effective and very accurate as well. So I was
thank
just
you.
kind of curious, what do you think makes those lead hand shots so effective? Do you think it's the speed? Do you think it's the inability to see them coming?
Um, it's just something I've always had a strength in since I was little. That lead hand. My pops worked it with me since I was 6, 8, 8 years old. So really, just over time, working it as much as I can. Um, and to me, I don't know. I like that hook. I like that body shot. So really, just having fun with that lead hand. So
Yeah, certainly.
it's the
And it was
experience.
effective in many, many aspects of the fight.
Thank you.
Um, uh, as we mentioned earlier, for those of you who weren't able to, or for those that didn't know about this fight, it was a swing bout, which had you fighting once the main event had ended, and it was off the pay-per-view broadcast. How do you feel about being in that situation where you're on a huge card with some really big names, but you don't get to fight on the broadcast, and once the arena is largely cleared out?
Um, I didn't have a problem with it. There was actually a pretty good amount of people there still. I'm not really tripping about it just because I know, eventually pretty soon I'm gonna be up there too. So, um, to me, it's not really a focus to make sure all these eyes are on me. I'm getting this great experience and still having a lot of eyes on me. So,
Mhm.
I'm just taking it one step at a time, being patient. I know that time will come and it's gonna come soon for sure.
Definitely. Have you been in this position before? Because I know you fought on the fight of the century card with Bud and Errol Spence.
Funny, I was actually the first fight for the Spence card,
Oh, I
and
see.
then for this one, I was the last one. There was more people on this one than there was on
Oh,
the Spence card. On the Spence card, it was almost empty.
oh wow. So I
Yeah,
mean, people did stick around to watch the
yeah,
swing bouts after the fact. Was it
yeah.
just yours, or were there two?
There was two. There was
Hmm.
Carmel Moulton was right before me.
Oh,
Yeah,
the young guy, the Mayweather's prodigy.
yeah,
Oh, very interesting. I saw that finish. That was quite vicious, as a matter of fact. But no, that's fascinating. I previous to you mentioning it, I had actually never heard that these bouts were a thing. And when I pulled up to
yeah.
watch the fight, I was like, "Where is he at?" I was like, I was rather confused. I was like, I got here early to watch this."
Wow.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, if do you think it has to do with the round total? I mean, if you go to 8 rounds, do you think you're more likely to be on
For
the
sure.
card?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
No.
But it's the way a swing bout works is like if you're on the undercard and there's X amount of fights, and it's gonna go into the pay-per-view time, they're gonna take those bouts to make sure everything's on time. So they're gonna swing it behind the main card.
Oh, so it's more to fit the parameters of the broadcast rather than
Yeah.
oh, that makes a whole lot of sense. Um, one thing you had mentioned the crowd and that how there were more people in the audience. As I was listening to your recording, there was a certain fan in the audience who seemed to be rooting for Angel Barrera, who said all kinds of outrageous things in the I mean, and since the arena wasn't as packed as, a main event or maybe as some of your other fights, with it being a more intimate crowd, were you actually able to hear what he had to say, or are you locked in that moment? Are you just completely tuning everyone out?
Um, I don't hear anyone else but my corner
Mhm.
until I rewatch the fight. So like, yeah, pretty much you do have that tunnel vision of you're only like accustomed to certain voices to hear. Um, so really, I only mostly just heard my brother and a little bit of Brian. Usually it's just all I hear is my dad. My dad. I mean, everyone. If you've been to a fight where my dad was in my corner, everyone knows what my dad's saying because of how loud he is.
Mm.
Um, so really, I just hear him, and it's funny when people ask me too, like, "Hey, did you hear me saying this? Did you hear that guy saying that?" And I'm like, "No, I only heard my dad and my brother. That's it." So that's a good thing of just being focused. But it's funny watching it back, like on video and stuff.
Yeah, he was talking all that bull junk, as Deion Sanders liked to say it at the beginning of the
I
fight,
know. It
and
was
then
funny. It was funny.
all of a sudden, the dude's quiet through rounds 3 through 6, and it's like it was kind of funny. You did manage to shut him up with the performance for sure. I
For
also
sure.
wanted to, I did want to get your thoughts on the rest of the card, especially Canelo's performance, considering you were able to watch it. Um, were there wait, so I was gonna say, what did you think of his performance, and what did you think of the whole main event?
Um, it was kind of what I expected. Once I saw how hard he hit that first round and how it moved Charlo, I really I really didn't see Charlo being able to do anything to Canelo. I mean, he had some moments, later in the rounds, um, but those moments were not enough. Canelo was way too strong. I think his experience of just being that pressure fighter. Just really played out the way everyone kind of thought it would. I did expect Charlo to kind of fight more, box or even just box more, move. But it was just a dominant performance on Canelo's hand, clearly. I think Jermel might have been probably too small, I'd say, as far as power and durability. But Canelo looked like how he's been looking when he was taking over 168. So that's good to see for sure.
Yeah, and I'm curious, did anything uh do you think there was anything specific that made Jermel Charlo so apprehensive to go forward? I noticed Canelo's footwork was on point the entire night. He did an incredible job of
Uh,
cutting off the ring. Or do you think it had more to do with some, X's and O's outside of the ring? Like, do you think that Charlo was intimidated going into this, even though he's been calling him out since 2014?
I don't think so. I think it's just the way Canelo did what he did inside the ring. Everything that broke him down mentally, I think it happened inside the ring. Just because once you feel that power and once you realize, man, like what can I do to this fighter right now? And you realize it's nothing, that's pretty discouraging. So I think it was just the aspect of what happened inside the ring.
No, definitely makes sense. And who do you think Canelo's got next? We got David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade coming up. They were both rumored, or the winner of that's rumored to take him on next. I know, and also super fight against Bud. Terrence Crawford is also likely. Um, any opinions on who do you think he's going to go with next?
I'm hoping it's Benavidez. I think the fight with Crawford is just I don't see Crawford being big enough to, you know, give him a good, brawl fight, whatever. Um, but I think Benavidez is a perfect match for Canelo, and it'll be a great stamp for Benavidez to, if he wins, it's just like he really prove himself because I feel like a lot of people doubt Benavidez, So I think even giving him a good fight would just be great for him, and I think it'd be a good challenge for Canelo as far as who's out there. I don't see the Bevo rematch being that entertaining. Um, he's cleared 168, so I think there's that one guy left is just Benavidez. So I'm hoping it's him.
No, definitely. I think that's definitely the fight most people are calling for. Once I
Yeah,
heard the Bud rumors, I'm like, we just saw what happened when Canelo goes against a smaller guy. Despite how
yeah,
good Bud is, despite how good he is at switching stances, I think it's going to be it would be another size problem, especially
yeah,
for
yeah.
that
I
fight.
agree.
So there was a controversial decision in the co-main event where which featured Erickson Lubin and Jesus Ramos. After the fight, 70% of viewers believe that Ramos did enough to win the fight, as well as the unofficial score giving it to Ramos. Do you think that there's a problem with judging in boxing from a consistency standpoint? Because his fight looked a lot similar to Canelo Alvarez, and his game plan looked a lot similar to Canelo Alvarez. And do you think that there's a bit of a consistency issue when it comes to judging?
I mean, it happens, like these the way fight score aren't from um, technology or anything. They're people, everyone makes mistakes, I guess, or everyone sees it differently. And there really isn't much you could do about it. So I remember the times, I've been robbed or something like that. I never really tripped about it just because, I know what I did in that ring and there's not much I can do about it. So yeah, there's gonna be some inconsistencies and that sucks, but um, you got to deal with it. That's boxing, I guess. That's why I try to put them out. Don't leave it to the judges. So
Certainly. I know you've stopped most of your fights, so I know it's probably I mean, obviously the prerogative going in is to finish the fight. But
right.
would that ever run through your head like whether or not they'll give me the decision if you're going into a real close fight or you had a real close fight going into the decision?
Um, yeah, I mean, obviously it's if it's close, you're gonna be, like, shoot, I hope they give it to me. But I think as a fighter, you kind of know yourself, and if you have a good performance and it was enough, you're able to gauge, if you're gonna get the decision or not, based off experience. So um sometimes even in those close fights, I don't worry if they're gonna give it to me necessarily. It's just, yeah, I did that. I did good that last round. They're gonna give it to me, and I was always right. So um, I mean, it doesn't really get in my head too much, but just depends how you do.
No, certainly. And last one for me. As we mentioned in the previous one, you fought 4 fights in the last 6 months. How quickly are you looking to get back in the ring? And are there any opponents that you have in mind?
Um, Probably December, just to
Hmm.
close out the year, 5 fights. Um, no opponents in mind, just whoever they give me, I'm gonna say yes. So
No, you said put on them work boots and go in and put your head down and work. So I mean, definitely
absolutely,
fits the brand for you, man.
for sure.
Thank you so much for taking the time, Justin. Justin, a huge
Of course.
congratulations on the win, and my thoughts
Thank
and
you.
prayers are with your father, man. I'm real sorry to hear that. But
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
yeah. Thanks again for tuning in to Sling and Leather. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and comment below who you think Canelo or Alvarez should fight next. Remember to protect yourself at all times, and then we'll see you guys in the next one.